Hello students, welcome to today's lecture video. In this lecture video we are going to discuss about the investment process. What is investment? And the subject introduction we have already seen in the first topic. Now in this video we are going to discuss about the investment process. The agenda for the present topic is to know about the scientific process for investment. I think you know how to what is investment, but how to make an investment there is a systematic procedure. In this video we are going to discuss about what is that scientific procedure for making any investment. And to understand various requirements needed during the investment decision. So of course there are many things that are required for making an investment. Now here in this topic we are going to understand what are the various requirements for making an investment in a detailed manner. So what we are expecting from this entire lecture video is the able to chalk out the investment process. Once the topic is completed, then you will understand the process and you can write up what is investment process on your own. And to identify the key steps in investment process, of course there is a systematic procedure. Investment process is a systematic procedure. You will be able to write up what are the different steps that are involved in the investment process by the end of the lecture. Now let me tell you the brief about what is investment process. By definition, an investment process is a set of guidelines that govern the behavior of investors in a way which allows them to remain fruitful to the tenets of their investment philosophy, that is the key principles that they hope to facilitate outperformance. Now any investor expects to perform well in the investment. So because the performance gives the better results for the investment at the end. That's why the investment process always thought to achieve the outperformance at the end. But for that what is required is set of guidelines to be followed, and you need to maintain the investment philosophy throughout the entire investment process. Then only the end you will see this outperformance in the investment. Now the process of investment involves careful study and analysis of various classes of assets and risk return ratio attached to it. So in the entire investment process, what is involved is the careful study and analysis. There are many things that are required to be carefully studied and analyzed, and the classes of assets, the different assets that you are about to study, and what are the different classes of assets that are possible for the investment also to be analyzed. And also at the end you will analyze for each and every investment alternative there will be some risk and return associated with it. So here in the entire investment process you should always carefully analyze and study the different investment alternatives. At the same time you should also look into what is the risk involved in each and every investment alternative, and thereby we can expect some return out of that particular investment. So this is again completely looked at while we are making investments into any investment alternative. Now let's jump onto the topic investment process. This is what the cycle for the investment process. Here the investment process starts with the assessment of the current financial situation, and then in the next step we will go and define the investment objectives, then allocate assets, select an investment strategy, and monitor and manage the investment process. Now we'll look into this entire process, how to do this investment in a systematic procedure, and these steps will be discussed one by one. Before going to that, let's watch a small video on the investment as how to make an investment with the small money that you have. Friends, the investment is one of the most important step in everyone's life, because everyone financial prosperity starts with an investment only. But for that, basic savings are very important. When you have savings, then this saving corpus must be invested in a careful manner so that your savings can reap you better benefits at the end in the form of investment. So, while assessing the current financial situation, the planning starts by evaluating current financial situation. Anything requires planning. Even that, the investment process also requires planning. So, where the planning starts by evaluating the current financial situation. Imagine a person has the intention to make an investment, but the current present situation or the current situation is not in a position to save money at the present situation. In such a scenario, he can't save money and he can't invest money. So, in that scenario, he'll have to wait for some time, and then once he come to a situation where he is comfortable enough to save money, then only the savings will started and the investment process will go ahead. Until then, they'll have to wait until the situation arises. That's why the investment process, for making an investment, you need to assess your financial situation. Whether the financial situation is favorable to you or unfavorable to you, you need to judge in the initial step. With an investment goals at the top of the mind, we'll need to make note of the following factors. Means, once the capability of investment is known to you, then while making an investment, these three important factors are to be considered. Those are assets. Means, for assessing the financial situation, these three important factors are important. One is assets, the other one is liabilities, and that is risk appetite. So, while assessing the financial situation, what are the three are important is the assets, liabilities, and the risk appetite. These three are very much important. These three are very much important. So, you need to understand what are the assets that you are having currently, what are the liabilities that you are having, and also based on that you will come to a conclusion that what is the risk appetite for you. Now, what is the way of valuing the assets? Means, understanding the assets of yourself, or for making an investment on a particular firm concern, then you will have to assess the valuation of your entire the assets for the particular organization. So, first step in the investment process is the assessment of current financial situation, for which what you are supposed to do is correctly assess your assets. Assets are none other than the various already you might have invested your money in various alternatives, that is purchasing inventory, or maybe purchasing furniture, or having a beautiful infrastructure for doing your business. So, all these you might have already invested. Now, these are all present in the business or for you in your home as an asset. Let's say your car is an asset, building is an asset, and anything that is there in your home as in the form of a workable entity is called an asset. That's why it's all these are known as assets. And you need to figure out what is the value of the asset that you have. That is what is nothing but valuation of the assets that you have. And secondly, the liabilities. So, the liability is something which you are about to pay money to others. So, you might go for an overdraft at the bank. So, it's a liability, and you are supposed to pay some money to your friend or some other person. So, it is a liability. Now, you should figure out what is the total amount of money that you are owed to somebody is nothing but a liability. Assess all the liabilities and sum up all the asset value, sum up all the liabilities value, then you will come across what is the surplus that you are having, or whether you are having any deficit in the current situation. Then you will come to know about this word risk appetite. So once you do this kind of analysis, total assets valuation and liabilities valuation, then you will know about the surplus position or a deficit position, which will tell you the risk appetite level. The risk appetite level is nothing but the risk bearing capacity of the individual or the person who is going to make an investment. This is called a risk appetite level. So for making an investment, the calculation of this risk appetite level is very, very important. Now, if you rightly assess the risk appetite level, then you will understand the kind of investment that you are supposed to do it. Say for example, let us consider a person who is at the age of 25 and a person who is at the age of 50. At the age of 25, when a person is doing job, then he hardly have much responsibilities, so that he will have more risk appetite level. At the same time, the person at the age of 50 might have lot of responsibilities towards the family, towards the other parameters that he is bound to certain responsibilities. So they need money in these two course of actions. So that is why they are not in a position to take that much amount of risk. So their risk appetite level is to some extent less. So the right valuation of your assets and liabilities will tell you about whether you are in a surplus position or a deficit position, and at the end you will also come to know about the risk appetite level, whether you are capable of taking high risk or capable of taking low risk or not. So these three parameters like assets, liabilities and risk appetite level will let you understand the current financial situation. When the assets are high and the liabilities are less, then your risk appetite level will be high. Then you can do aggressive investments. Otherwise, you will have to go for a very conservative kind of investment, very low risk kind of investment to be made. So this will set the direction for the way of what is the way that you are supposed to make an investment in the coming steps that you are doing it. Taking the time to assess all of these will help us to decide on the right policies and investment strategies. That's, as I said now, you need to assess all these. They will tell you what are the right policies for you to follow throughout the investment process, and also the what kind of investment strategy is suitable for you. Everything will have an idea only when you calculate these three and come to a conclusion at the end. By this, is it this entire procedure for making an investment is quite common for an individual, also for an entity it is quite common. Even for the organization like a small business organization, big organization or even multinational organization also, the procedure for investment is same, and for which the step assessing the current financial situation is quite common, and the procedure for calculating this the current financial situation is also quite same. And in the step 2, what we will suppose to do is define the investment objective. So investment objective must be defined. So it's simply based on the risk appetite level and the comfortable level of your financial situation will let you understand what kind of investment must be, what kind of objective for the investment must be set, will be having a clarity. After taking note of these three factors mentioned above, as we said, asset, liabilities and risk appetite level, we now need to create a detailed risk return profile. Since the market is volatile in nature, we need to determine the level of risk we are willing to take, and under predictability of profit we can withstand. Which means, suppose as the markets are in fluctuation mode, means every time markets may every time markets will go high and come down. So these fluctuations are quite common in stock market. Now as the market is volatile in this way, So that whatever investment that you are going to take up, you should understand the risk appetite level, and based on that, in case if you are capable of taking high risk, then you go for aggressive kind of investments. Otherwise, we should go for a very conservative kind of investment and very low risk kind of investments. And based on that only, we will have an expectation of profit out of investment as well. As a rule of thumb, remember, every time when you are making your investment, then every time you should remember this particular principle related to risk and return, that is high risk, high return, low risk, low return. The same time, no risk, no return also. So which means the relationship between the risk and return is always in this way. If you think that there is a one particular investment alternative where there is a high risk and there is low return, then probably you might leave that kind of investment alternative, as the risk reward ratio is not comfortable to you. At the same time, in case in a particular investment alternative you feel that risk is less and return is to some extent better, then you can go for such kind of investments. I'll tell you one example here. A investment into mutual fund. An investment into mutual fund, what it offers is, it can offer you the investment of comfort of investment in stock market at the level of comfort of expertise benefit. So you are making in mutual fund investment with a expert advisors, so that your risk level will be minimized. At the same time, you can enjoy the benefit of equity investment in equity, where the returns in equity market is very much high. So your risk is less in the form of professional investment, your return is high in the form of high risk aggressive investments like equities. That's why the risk return level is comfortable in some kind of investment alternatives. For the investment process, you must select such kind of investment alternative, and based on that, you need to keep certain kind of investment objectives for making an investment. Next, step 3, that is allocation of assets. So allocation of assets means simply proceeding with the plan what we have made in line with the philosophies that we have and guidelines that we set, and also the what based on the risk and return level that we are capable of. Based on this, we might have already laid down certain guidelines for making an investment, and now we are ready for investment. Then what actually that you do it in the investment process is you allocate your assets. So allocation plays a very important role, because unless and until you invest your money into one particular alternative, your plans never work. That's why it is the time of execution of your strategy. So allocation of assets is nothing but an execution of strategy in the investment process. This execution must be very what we call as per the guidelines only we need to allocate our assets. Now what we have to have a clear picture of our financial condition, and now that we have a clear picture of our financial condition and risk return profile at our disposal. Now we know what is our risk return profile, and the clear picture of our financial situation, and in case if our financial situation is good and the risk return profile is also comfortable, then accordingly we will pick a kind of investment alternative and we will allocate our money. The next thing we need to do is to decide on how well our allocation of assets will do it. So here allocation of assets can be done in many ways. Like you will allocate your assets on a systematic way, or you will allocate your assets at once also for making this kind of investment. I will tell you one example here. There is a process of investment in equity market. One kind of process is lump sum amount investment. In the lump sum amount investment, what you do is you put your entire money in at a time, and you will invest this entire money in at once, and simply you will wait for the rest of the time. And at the end of the investment period, whatever return that is achieved to you, you will be achieving this particular return. On the other hand, there is another kind of investment method wherein you can invest your money in a systematic investment way. So it is known as a SIP, systematic investment plan, where you will invest your money into equity market on regular intervals. It can be monthly, it can be bi-monthly or 6 monthly, half yearly. So simply you will invest your money in a systematic way, so that your risk will be minimized for the investment, and also you can invest your money in a consistent manner, because employees may not put their money at a once, but they will have money on a periodical way, like every month they will receive salary, so that they will have a capability to make an investment every month. So for them, what is the best thing is, systematic investment plan is the best one. So they can systematically keep their money into stock markets, so that their investment will go in a healthy manner. And also there are many benefits with investing their money with a systematic investment plan, like minimization of risk. Because when you go for a systematic investment plan, then you will get more units when the asset value is less, and you will get when you invest more, then you will get more units. When the asset value is high, then you will get the lesser units. When the asset value is low, you will get the more units for the same kind of investment that you do it. So in the systematic investment plan, even when the market is high or the market is low, you will be benefited at the end for making an investment. But for the one-time investment plan, wherein which at the time you invest your money, if the asset value is high, probably the total value of your assets may in some time future may come down. That's why you will be under risk when you make a lump sum investment. That's why you need to decide on what way that you are supposed to make an investment into different assets. As an investor, we can select from various asset classes such as stocks, bonds, and cash, and split into different amount of capital into each, and finally we will make an investment into different assets. So in the previous topic, we already discussed about what are the various investment alternatives are available for making an investment. That's why you keep in mind these investment alternatives, and finally understand the risk return profile of each and every alternative, and based on that you allocate the assets. I will tell you one example here. While allocating the assets, you need to think about the risk return profile of the assets. So the equity investment is possessing high risk, also high rewarding as well. If you are capable, if your current financial situation and the risk assessment says that your risk appetite level is good, then you can go for the equity investment. And in case if your risk appetite level is moderate, then you can go for another both hybrid kind of investment alternatives, like hybrid mutual funds. So a hybrid mutual fund is nothing but a mutual fund. In some portion of money will be invested in equity alternatives, equity shares, and some portion will be invested in bonds. So your risk will be to some extent minimized, and also your return will be maximized. And in case if your risk appetite level is very much low, like the age at the retirement level, then you can choose a kind of investment alternative like only debt bonds or government bonds. So only then these kind of very conservative kind of investment alternatives can be chosen when your risk return level is to a certain level, to that particular level. While allocating the assets, what you do is, you should think about the capital that you have currently with you, and also how much amount of cash you want to allocate for what kind of investment alternative. Let's say for example you want to invest in various investment alternatives like equity to some extent, real estate to some extent, and other gold some extent, and any other alternative that you may have in your mind. You want to allocate your asset in this way. Now what you will do is, the entire money what you have with you, let's say for example you have 20 lakhs, then real estate investment needs large amount of capital for investment. Let's say 10 lakhs for real estate investment, another 2 lakhs for gold investment, another 2 lakhs for any other commodity or so. So in that way you need to allocate your assets according to the kind of investment alternative, and also the kind of the level of risk return risk appetite level, and you are supposed to allocate the assets for the investment that you are supposed to make. Fourth step is selecting an investment process strategy. So once we have allocated our assets, we will need to decide on how well to grow our money. And there are two types of portfolios to be chosen from. Means after making an investment, what kind of methodology to be followed to to grow your money in a better way. Normally, for after allocation, your portfolio will be made ready. I'll tell you what is portfolio. The set of investments that you have made is nothing but a portfolio of assets. It's called portfolio. So once a portfolio is developed and you have already made an investment, then you will have to follow this particular step where there are two types of portfolio strategies that are to be followed. One is active portfolio and the other one is passive portfolio, the other one is active portfolio. See, during the investment process, for making an investment, the investor might be a busy investor, some people, and somebody may have some time for making an investment. Here, time also very important for making an investment, because every time you need to look into the portfolio whether the portfolio is performing well or not, so that you need to depending upon the portfolio that you depending upon the performance of the portfolio, you are supposed to do some kind of modifications to your portfolio. So here passive portfolio strategy means you are supposed to handle the portfolio in a very rare intervals. So very few times you are supposed to handle the portfolio. On the other hand, active portfolio management needs regular monitoring of portfolio and regular management of the portfolio, where in the active portfolio management strategy, where an investor's purpose is to mirror a stock market's index, it's a reactive strategy that allows the investor to require returns equal to the share market. But whereas active portfolio management, it entitles more risk, since the investor's purpose is to outperform the market. Means simply, if you want to settle with the return of the stock market, then you will follow this kind of passive portfolio strategy, where very limited time you are in a position to manage your portfolio. But on the other hand, for the active portfolio management, you are aggressively and every time you are constantly looking in the portfolio and try to outperform than the market, you put your efforts. That's what the difference between active portfolio management and a passive portfolio management. The last step is monitor and manage investment process. So once you make an investment, you cannot keep idly. We need to watch our portfolio whether our portfolio is performing as per the expected performance level or not. So you need to understand whether the strategies what you have implemented are performing well or not, and based on that you need to manage the portfolio, manage your investments. To know how well our portfolio is performing or not, then review the performance at the regular intervals. Whether it is quarterly, annually, and benchmarks we have set will tell us if we are still in our goals or not. Means whether the portfolio is performing well or not to be understood by monitoring the portfolio on regular intervals. Since changes in our life and economy will occur over a period of time, it's necessary to tweak our strategies as well. So simply what we need to understand from this is simply economy will perform, and whether economy may perform in a positive way or in a negative way. But if the economy performs and underperforms, then it might have a negative impact on our investment. So that in the underperforming economy also some kind of investments may perform well. So those are known as active performers, and other investments where the investment is the performance is very less, to be taken back and then invest the money in other attractive investment alternative. This kind of change that we need to do it, because the environment is every time dynamic and every time in a changing manner, so that it can adversely affect our investments. I will tell you another example here. During March and April 2020, the stock markets have fallen almost 20 to 22%. This particular return is achieved by the investors for about 1 year to 1.5 year time. So the returns that is achieved during this 1 year to 1.5 year time were collapsed in just 2 months itself. So means before going to the kind of a deep fall in the market, if you could identify any symptoms from the market that in the near future the market is going to crash, then you might have taken a kind of step and safeguard your capital. The way to understand the indications in the market, like the technical analysis to some extent helpful for you to understand whether the stock market is going to outperform in the future or underperform in the future. Some clues, some kind of indications will definitely be identified while looking into technical parameters, and based on that also we can take some kind of precautions for investment and pull back our money before the market crash and safeguard our capital also. That's why regular monitoring of the portfolio is very, very important. If our investment process isn't in line with the risk reward profile, and we can rebalance by selling the investments that we have reached our targets, buying investments that have high potential for return. Exactly. Over a period of time, you will once you make an investment, then if you are already reaching to a level where you are comfortable in investment, then probably you might your risk return profile might change. So once your risk return profile changes, then if you are capable of taking higher risk, then a conservative kind of investments to the aggressive kind of investments to be made. Vice versa, when your risk reward ratio, when your risk appetite level decreases as the days passes, then you are supposed to go for the conservative kind of investments in the going days. That's how you need to take an investment while so you need to understand In this way, you need to understand and manage the investment process. So you need to monitor the entire investment process, and you need to manage the investment process in this way, so that your investment will be safeguarded. Now, when you conclude this, investment is one of the most important decisions made by every organization. During the investment process, there are 5 key steps involved, and investment process is a continuous phenomena, and monitoring and managing is the key step in the entire investment process. Now, let me tell you this practical scenario of investment. In the practical scenario, if you want to make an investment into stock market, then you need to open a demat account. Once you open a demat account, then you can purchase shares. Then the shares will be transferred to your demat account. So there are many companies many stockbrokers are available in India, like Sharekhan, Reliance Money, and Zerodha, and many more stockbrokers are available. You can open your demat account and purchase shares, and you can keep your shares in your demat account for more time. And if you want to make your investment in bonds, simply you can open this bond investment in your bank itself. And in case if you want to make an investment in gold, there are many ways that you can invest your money into gold. You can go for a physical investment, or you can go for a ETFs. So wherein you need to open a commodity account with a multi commodity exchange or NCDEX, so that you can your money into your these kind of commodity exchanges, and the commodities can be invested for over a period of time. And if you want to make an investment in real estate, then you need to come up with a high level of investment and ready for illiquid assets, and then make an investment into real estate once we look into the parameters like the documentation is verified, and the attractiveness of the particular site or the building that you are supposed to purchase. All these to be keep in mind, and then only you need to take a decision in terms of real estate investment. And in case if you want to go for other investments like Kisan Vikas Patra from post office or so, you need to go along with your ID proof and address proof, along with the bank account, bank passbook. Then you can go to any post office and open an account, and you can purchase this Kisan Vikas Patra and all this for making an investment. So that's all, my friends. I hope you have understand the process of making an investment. So thank you very much. And before closing this session, let's conclude with a small quiz every time as usually. DAS is known as the assessment of risk bearing capacity. There is a small term that is known as a risk bearing capacity. Can you say what is that? Exactly, it is risk appetite level. And then low risk, high return. I repeat, low risk, high return. Whether the statement is true or false. Yes, it is false. Once a portfolio is created, it should never be revised whatsoever be the result. So once a portfolio is created, it should never be revised whatsoever is the result. No, based on the result, we can revise our portfolio as per our expectations. That's why the statement stands false. So first one risk appetite, second, third, both are false. So this is what your disclaimer. Thank you very much for participating in this session.